but they can hear me. Yeah. Right. Me too. Shana Tova, everyone. We'll just get started in just a moment. People are finding their seats. If you haven't done so already, there are machzerim in the back. Well, Cantor, everyone quieted down, so why don't we get started? Shana Tova, everyone.
Shana Tova.
So good to see you all. Here we are. Here we are back in person, and we also have our friends online, so we want to wish them a Shana Tova as well. So we say Shana Tova to them.
Shana Tova.
Do you think they could hear you? No. So let's try it again.
Shana Tova.
That's a little better. And for those of you at home or wherever you are watching, please respond Shana Tova so we can hear you. Did you hear it? And I think one of the important things is that we today are going to have to hear in a different way. We're going to have to listen in a different way. Because this year is different, is it not? And so we're asking each and every one of you to try and imagine things as though they are just a little different, that we are going to explore new ways in which to daven, look at new ways in which to connect, try new things. And not only are we doing that here, but we are asking that we do it in the year to come. If you are not open to a new experience, we're going to talk about this throughout the entire high holiday season. We need to be, we ought to be, and we should be open to a new experience. I wanted to start with a little bit of a story before we turn to page 9 for Ma Tovu. When a tzaddik, we all know what a tzaddik is, right? A righteous person. When a tzaddik would age and approach death, their Hasidim would humbly approach their master for a final blessing, a final bracha, a final word. One of the most influential Rebbes had reached an advanced age, and his Hasidim came to receive their bracha. They went around his bed, and with joy, with simcha, the Rebbe gave the bracha. The rabbi gave the blessing. One chassid asked, Rabbi, how is it that after all that you have been through the pogroms, through arrests by the authority, ransoms, poverty, you have always remained joyful? The Rebbe responded, every morning a voice asks me, today, do you choose to be joyful? And I always answer, yes. I ask each and every one of you today, and I will ask you over the course of the next couple of days, Do you choose to be joyful? In spite of everything that has happened over the course of the past year, past 18 months, however it is that you choose to designate time, it is your choice on how you receive it and how you respond to it. Are you joyful? I want to remind folks to turn off their cell phones at home or wherever you are online. You don't have to, but do you? And we now start on page 9 with Ma Tovu. This morning, or this evening, and tomorrow morning, and for the remainder of the high holiday season, I will be officiating services with our beloved cantor Ray Cohen. Page 9.
Ma tovu, ma tovu, ohalecha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael. Ma tovu, ma tovu, ohalecha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael. V'ani berov hasecha avo beitecha, eshtacha ve'chochodshecha be'yiratecha. Ma tovu, ma tovu, ohalecha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael.
Adonai ahavti, me'yon beitecha, u'mekol mishkan kevodecha, mishkan kodecha.
V'ani eshtachaveh ve'echra erecha lifnei Adonai osi. Ma tovu, ma tovu, ohalecha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael.
V'ani tefilati lecha, Adonai etratzon, Elohim berov chastecha, Elohim berov chastecha, anini be'emet ishecha.
Ma tovu, ma tovu, ohalecha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael. Ma tovu, ma tovu, ohalecha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael. Mishkenotecha Yisrael.
Eternal God, as the twilight of the old year fades into the night that marks the birth of a new year, we gather with mingled emotions, mindful of life's blessings and sorrows. May the new year be for us and for all the world a year of sustenance and joy, of peace and serenity. May this year be a year in which your Spirit will guide our deeds and the love of you will fill our hearts. And we all say, Amen.
Amen.
Please rise on page 18 for the Baruch Hu.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Vaed.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Vaed.
Amen.
Please be seated.
Umavir yom, umevi laila, umavdil ben yom uvein laila, Adonai tzavot shemo, El Chai v'kayam, tamidim loch aleinu le'olam vaed, Baruch atah Adonai.
Baruch Hu, Baruch Shemo.
Amari Varavim.
Amen.
On page 20, Ahavat Olam, with everlasting love you have loved your people Israel, teaching us the Torah and its mitzvot, instructing us in its laws and judgments. The word Ahavat Olam, it literally means, as you can see here on page 21 at the top, it says with everlasting love. But Ahavat Olam is a Hebrew word. It is one word, Ahavat Olam. It is what is called a smichut, that they are together. It literally means, if you translate it, Olam means the world or the universe. And Ahava, of course, is love. So when you say Ahavat Olam, it means the kind of love that fills the entire universe. Think about that for just a moment. Love that is so much, there is no room for anything else. If we can make ourselves, fit ourselves, create ourselves in a way in which we have that much love, do you agree that the world would be a better place? Of course. So let us focus over the next few weeks on how we can create just within ourselves. Because we are, in a lot of ways, at least as the Kabbalists understand, we are a world unto ourselves. Make yourself as though there is no room for anything else in your life but love. Ahavat Olam.
Ahavat Olam. Alkein Adonai Eloheinu Beshabeinu Kumeinu Nasiach Behukecha
Alkein Adonai Eloheinu B'shachmeinu v'kumeinu Nasiach b'chukecha
V'nismach B'divrei Toratecha U'mitzvotecha Le'olam v'ed Ki hem chayenu Ve'orech yameinu Uvahem negei yomam v'layla Uvahem negei yomam v'layla Uvahem negei yomam v'layla Yomam v'layla.
Please join on page 22 for the Shema.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol meudecha ve'hayu advarim ha'ele asher anochi metzavecha hayom alevavecha v'shinatam levanecha v'dibarta bam B'shivtecha b'beitecha u'v'lechtecha b'derech u'shachbecha u'bekumecha u'kshartam leot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot b'eineinecha u'ktavtam al mezuzot beitecha u'visharecha.
Please continue silently on page 24, and we will join together on page 26 in the middle of the page.
Leman tizkeru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai vehitem kedoshim le'Elohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hoseti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem l'Elohim ani Adonai Elohechem Adonai Elohechem emet.
We turn now to the middle of page 28 for Mi Chamocha.
U'malchuto b'ratzon kiblo alechem Moshe u'bnei Yisrael lecha anu shira b'simecha rabba ve'omru chulam Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai Mi chamocha nedar b'kodesh Norah tehilot osef elem Moshe Ze'eli Anu Ve'amru Adonai Imloch Le'olam Va'ed V'nehemar Kifar Adonai et Yaakov Ugalo mi'ad chazak mimenu Baruch atah Adonai
Baruch Hu Baruch Shemo.
Gal Yisrael.
Amen.
Please turn to page 30, but before on page 31, I'd like to read responsively. This is one of my favorite prayers. And over the course of the years, I've shared with you on Friday evenings and at other services where we sing and share this prayer together that how we go to bed at night will color how we enter into the next day. We all agree. If you go to bed upset and angry, the odds of you waking up upset and angry might be pretty high. If you close your eyes and before you go to bed and count what you are grateful for and consider all the wonderful things that have happened in the previous day, do you not think maybe, perhaps, you will wake up and be in a little bit brighter mood? We all understand that thought. It is so important. It is so important that we consider this as well at the end of the year. How is it that we ended the year? How is it that we ended? Did you spend today thinking about all the wonderful things you did over the year? Did you take a moment and consider and think about all the beautiful additions that were added to you this year and to your family? If you didn't get a chance to do that, now would be the appropriate time. Take a moment and think about all the things that you are grateful for. A loved one, somebody whose health was restored, somebody in your life that is new, perhaps a new job. It is your list to add. But when we say Hashkivenu, this is the final moment in which we can look back at our year, because truthfully, as the sun went down, that was the end of last year, and now we look forward to the next. Hashkivenu.
Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom v'hamidenu malkeinu l'chaim ufros aleinu Sukkot Shalomecha V'taknenu ba'etz ha'tova milfanecha V'hoshienu leman shemecha V'hagen ba'adenu V'haser me'aleinu oyev dever v'cherev v'ra'av v'yagon oyev dever v'cherev v'ra'av v'yagon ובצל כנפיך, כנפיך תסתירנו, ובצל כנפיך, ובצל כנפיך תסתירנו. כי אל שומרנו ומצילנו, כי אל שומרנו ומצילנו, כי אל מלך חנון ברחמתה, ושמור צאתנו ובואנו לחיים ולשלום, מעתה
We turn now to page 33. Tiku b'chodesh shofar b'kisei leyom chagenu, ki chok le'Yisrael hu mishpat le'elahei Yaakov. Sound the shofar on the new moon, the time appointed for our new year. It is observance, is a law for Israel, ordained by the God of Jacob.
תיקו בחודש שופר, בכסל יום חגנו, כי חוק לישראל הוא, משפט לאלוהי יעקב, משפט לאלוהי יעקב. יתגדל ויקדש שמי רבה,
אמן.
ועמד יברך חירותי, וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון, ובחיי דכל בית ישראל. Bagalav is mine kariv, bimeru, amen. Yehesh me rabba mevorach, leolam leomaya, yitbarach, yitbarach, vishtabach, vitpa'ar, vitromam, Ve'yitnaseh, ve'yithadar, ve'yithaleh, ve'yithalal, Shemei Kedusha, Rihu, Leila, Leila, Mikol Birchata, Ve'shirata, Tushbechata v'nechemata damiron ve'alma v'imru amen.
We rise now on page page 36 for the Ma'ariv Amida. Page 50.
יקרא ויקרא שמי רבה, ועמד יברח חירותי וימלך מלכותי, וחי אחד וביום אחד וחיי לכל בית ישראל, Bagalal Bizman Kari Ve'imeru.
Amen.
Yahei Shmei Rabba Mevora. Leolam Leolam Maya. Yitbarach Vishtabach V'Pa'ar V'Tromam V'Itnaseh. V'It Hadar V'It Alev V'It Halal Shmei Dekudusha. Richu Leila Leila Min Kol Birchata V'Shirata. Tushbechata V'Nechemata Damiran Be'alma Ve'imeru. Amen. Kikabal Soton Votahon Dechol Yisrael. Kadama V'Hon V'Shemaya Ve'imeru. Amen. Yahei Shlama Rabba Min Shemaya V'Chayim Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael Ve'imeru. Amen. Osei Shalom B'Mromav. Uyasei Shalom Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael Ve'imeru. Amen.
We now offer a Misha Berach for those who are in need of healing spiritually or mentally or physically. And it is also a time for us to think about those over the past year. Last year we were outside, and this year we're inside. Last year we were online. This year we are online. A lot has changed, and nothing has changed. And here we are, still offering prayers for those who have been hurt and wounded, and families that have become touched by COVID. So we ask at this Misha Berach, certainly for prayers for your loved one that is in need of healing, but I ask for your kavana, your spirit, and your thoughts for everyone who may be and has been affected by this terrible, terrible disease that we're still dealing with. Many of us thought this would have been over, but we simply do not know what the future holds. And we have learned, certainly in our community, that prayer works. Our prayers have been answered. And so we ask that each and every one of you find it in your heart, and find it, dig deep down to truly offer and take a moment for prayers of healing, as we say, Mishaberach Abatenu Abraham Yitzchak V'Yaakov, Sarah Rechka Rachav Alehu V'Rech V'Rapea Tacholim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yimalei Rachamim Alehem, B'Hachazikam Rapatam V'Yishlach Lahem Me'era, Refuah Shlema Min Hashemayim, Refuah Nefesh, Refuah Taguf B'Tov Sha'ar Cholei Yisrael, Hashta B'Galav Yizmon Kariv V'Nomar.
Amen.
May God, who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, bring blessing and healing to those we are thinking and praying about today. May God mercifully restore them to health, and may God grant them physical and spiritual well-being together with all who are ill. And let us all say,
Amen.
God send a speedy recovery for those in need of refuah shlema, refuah nefesh, or refuah guf, a complete healing of mind and body, and let us all say, Amen. Please rise on page 56 for Kiddush, for sanctification of the day. Please join me as I do the Kiddush. This is my favorite part, that we are bringing a little bit of heaven into this world. We could use it, yes? Yeah. A little bit of sanctity, but it's really, and you'll learn with me tomorrow as we talk about what does Kiddush really mean. It means connectedness. And I hope and I pray that each and every one of us over the course of the next couple of weeks feels a little more connected. I know I do this year. I feel a little more connected. Last year I felt very disconnected. This year I feel a little more connected. I can only hope and pray that this year we can squeeze our loved ones a little tighter and be grateful for all that will come. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol am v'ramanu mikol lashon v'kedishtanu b'mitzvotav v'titen l'Adonai Eloheinu b'yahava et yom hazikaron hazeh yom trura mikre kodesh zecher l'tziat mitzrayim Kivanu v'charta v'yotanu kitashta mikol ha'amim Urvarcha emet v'kayam la'ad Baruch atah Adonai melech ha'aretz mekadesh Yisrael v'yom hazikaron. And join me at the bottom of page 56 as we say together the Shehechianu, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Shehechianu v'kiyimanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. Let's do it in English together. Praised are you, Lord our God, ruler of the universe, who has kept us in life, sustained us, and enabled us to reach this season, and let us all say, Amen. L'chaim, l'chaim. Please be seated.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechianu v'kimanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. Melech haolam shehechianu v'kimanu v'higianu lazman hazeh.
This is one of my favorite songs, and you're lucky because of COVID. I'm not making all of us come together and do a big hug. That's what happens when you get your rabbinical degree in California. You start to well, I'm grateful to be here tonight. Just a few words of Torah. And this evening, I am so grateful to see all of you, and so grateful to be with you, whether you're at home or online, wherever you may be. That's one of the beauties. Let us remember as well that you come here to get a hug. And we've been trying over the course of the past 18 months to really give everyone a hug as best as we can, whether that's through a phone call or whether that's through a prayer, whatever it is. And that's our duty, that's our job as a community. Not just me, but each and every one of you to give that hug. And so that's really what I was thinking about when we sang Shehechianu, that I look forward to the day when physically I can shake your hand again in a way that we all feel comfortable. And I hope we all pray for that. One of my favorite parts of the High Holy Days is standing in the back greeting people as they come in. I just love it. I think it's the coolest thing. And unfortunately, it's not what it was, but it will be what it was in the future. Why not? Something like that. So listen, the interesting thing, the time is really right now. The time is now, and before the shofar is blown at Ne'ilah, and you're all welcome to return, if you've RSVP'd, some 10 days away. The sun will go down, and the shofar will blow. This is the time for each and every one of us. I'm not teaching you a lesson. I'm not trying to teach you anything here. This is a time for you to truly consider your spiritual nature. This is it. When are you going to do it? Next year? Tomorrow? When I get a chance? It's happening right now. And you have the next few days to consider and contemplate, reflect, and develop a new response. You can do what you've always done, but do you want a new experience? It truly is 100% entirely up to you what experience you will have over the next few days. It's completely up to you, 100%. Spiritually, Judaism is dynamic, and it's really only waiting for your active participation. Your active participation. After the great Exodus, we all remember that, right? The great Exodus of the Jewish people from Egypt, we arrived at Mount Sinai. Do you remember? Traditionally, you were actually there. Physically, every one of you were there. Moses ascended the holy mountain to receive the Torah. He was on the mountain for 40 days. 40 days he didn't eat or drink. He actually fasted. Or better, what did he do? He made room to focus, because that's what fasting really is. This is how he prepared to receive a way of living, to receive the Torah. At the foot of the mountain were hundreds of thousands of Jews. Metaphorically speaking, as I just stated, you were all there. And it states directly from our Torah, and God said to us at Mount Sinai, "Today you stand before me. All of you, your leaders, your followers, your children, your wives, even the stranger, all of you, from the wood chopper to the water drawer, stand before me to enter into this covenant." Did you guys just hear my Texas accent come out? "And I make this covenant not with you alone, but both with those of you who are standing before me today and with those who are not here with us today." And there we were, all of us waiting, looking longingly towards the heights of Sinai, waiting for Moses to return. Having just left Egypt, waiting. This time of uncertainty would have been a moment, really, for rest. A time to regroup, waiting with anticipation, excited for what's to come. Like waiting for a flight to a treasured destination, waiting for a well-deserved vacation. This would have been a great moment, a time of enjoyment. Buzz all around. The Jews had just been saved, and now God, who had fought for them, rescued them, brought them to salvation, was going to reveal God's self and instruct them, lead them. Endless possibility, endless, like the dawn of a new day, fresh with potential. How exciting. And as the days passed, you can begin to imagine a difference. The waiting has kind of changed. There's a shift. Like sitting in a doctor's office and the person next to you begins to cough uncontrollably. Or simply being put on hold for Spectrum. Angst, a little bit of doubt setting in. Second guessing, questioning. You can imagine the murmuring, the gossip, eyes rolling. How much longer is this going to be? And this would have been a very, very large crowd. What about the people in the way back? What about the people in the back? They don't have a great view, and there's no one really distracting them, right? They could make statements under their breath, and no one would really hear. Chatting, Moses is taking his time. When is he going to get here? You want to catch a movie? I'm getting bored. No one will know what we're up to. We've all heard these statements. What are we waiting for? You've all heard that, right? What are we waiting for? In one thought, that expression relates depletion with determination. Tired of the uncertainty. And how many of us have been tired of the uncertainty this past year? What were the Jews waiting for at Sinai? Something amazing considering what they had just witnessed. High expectations. They were waiting for another miracle, weren't they? We know it's coming, but imagine the waiting. It seems to be very familiar, doesn't it? Waiting. We all have been waiting this past year, vacillating between moments of acceptance, visions of return, replaced by exhaustion, confusion, disappointment, cycled with relief, a true cycle of the human emotional state. The Jews at Sinai experienced the same cycle. We know how their story ends, though. The golden calf. They missed what was right in front of us. The scientists call it, it's called inattentional blindness. Unless we pay close attention, we can miss the most obvious events. The Jews misunderstood the miracle. They were looking in the wrong place. We don't have to look in the wrong place. We don't. Like so much in life, we miss what is right in front of us. Look to your neighbor for just a minute. Do you truly appreciate them? Do you love them? Do you care? Are you excited to be with them? You at home, look at the pictures on your wall or those that you're surrounded with. How lucky are we to have this moment where we all just get a chance to sit here and think about spirituality for a few moments together, focused. The miracle, what was right in front of them, was that they were free. The Jews were finally free. They were no longer slaves. The miracle was that they were together. Do you see it as a miracle that we're here together tonight? A miracle. How beautiful. They were no longer slaves. We don't have to be burdened by what was. The miracle was that they were together after a momentous event. A life-changing incident. The Jews were one way before and another way after. And waiting for a miracle, looking up the mountain for change to come, they couldn't see that they were ruining the experience right in front of them. Always looking out for the change. Always outward, never looking in. Always anticipating what's to come next. Knowing that true freedom can only come from within. For hundreds of years, the Jews were slaves suffering under the burden of labor. This suffering and pain we can understand. We understand the pain of slavery, the pain of forced labor. But now as they're waiting in freedom, they're in pain, upset, worried, concerned. You fill in the blank. Have you complained at all this year? Anyone here? Anyone complained? Thank you for some of you being honest. They are free, and yet they were slaves, even in their freedom. What could possibly be the issue? Pain. And I'm going to say this again. Pain does not equal freedom. Mystics teach, our mystics and mystics across the world teach that there are two aspects of our human experience that differentiate us from our animal brothers and sisters. These are the things that make us free. We have an active memory, do we not? And we have a vivid imagination. All animals are in the present. That's where they are. Yet our human experience can actively remember what was. We can recreate a time that was past. We are, like many people, are we not masters of resentment? Suffering something that happened a year ago, 10 years ago? Does anyone remember something, a slight that was made 10 years ago, and it's still as though it is today? Pain by an event that happened in the past. And of course, we have a colorful imagination. Do you remember when you were an adolescent and you discovered this idea of daydreaming? Anyone remember that? You could sit in a room and listen to music for hours and just think. It can go on for some time. This makes the human experience unique in our world. Open to see what is in front of us. In fact, studies have shown that people with a lively imagination and associated traits are more open. It is these two faculties that make us free. Free to choose, free to grow, free to be the best enhanced life we can be. We had that at Sinai. We were free from slavery. Ultimately, slavery is the deleted memory and destruction of an imagined future. New to freedom, the Jews began to suffer their ability to remember and imagine. The Jews look back to slavery as though it wasn't that bad. Can't we go back to the way it was? I know that place. I'm comfortable there. There is comfort and certainty in what was, is there not? On the other hand, they look to the future as though it was going to be a series of suffering. Murmuring, when will this end? It's going to get worse before it gets better. Reading the minds of others, anticipating the next shoe to drop, or maybe just doom scrolling. Anyone doing that these days? Getting on your computer, just flipping through, waiting for that next terrible thing to happen. What's going to come next? Moving from slavery to freedom means you no longer suffer your existence. You no longer torture yourself. Those at Sinai were missing the miracle all around them. They had manna to fill all their food's needs. They had riches beyond what they had before. They had clothing, a place to live. They were no longer slaves. They were truly free. I want you to think about your own life. Truly, you are living comfortably. The most comfortable life ever in human history is happening today. When was the last time you really missed a meal? Did you have your coffee this morning? An extra shot? Steamed milk? A shot of vanilla? Sounds like a personal thing to me. If you're at home, look at your surroundings. Look at what all beautiful, beautiful things you have in your home. The miracle is that you are here alive and you are free. When Moses was presented with this scenario, he prepared himself to receive something. How did he wait? He used his time to be open to a new experience. Are you open? Are you truly open to a new experience? He fasted. He created a meditative environment. He moved past the obsessions of the mind and the chatter in the head. He moved past the complaining and the arguments. He moved past the judgments and the opinions. He moved past the identities. He moved away from the pain of what was and the fear of what could be. And what are the Jews waiting for Moses to return? Waiting for something to happen. Waiting here for services to just be completed. Would the rabbi just stop talking so we can get home and I can finally have my dessert? For the new year. How many of us have been waiting for that new year, that mark, so that we can just get past this? I heard it over and over again. 2020 was tough. 2021 will be better. 2021 was tough. 2022 will be better. To what end? To what end? Always concerned about what will be, what could happen. Always somewhere else. How we wait for the next. How are we when we don't know what is to come? This has been a year of uncertainty, and our future is still uncertain. In fact, it never really was certain. But now, more than ever, this truth of existence is right in front of you. Unless a tragedy strikes, we are often removed from this reality. What is pressing is how we respond. To many of us, we have just reacted this whole time. It is time for us to begin to respond. What are we charged to do these next days? Is to commit to the idea of Rosh Hashanah, the birthday of the world. It's 2 days. Set aside 2 days to look within and discover how we respond to uncertainty, to waiting. 2 days to contemplate and wonder. 2 days to consider how we ought to be spiritual in the coming year. Are we open as Moses, or are we focused on something shiny and gold, distracted? Spend these 2 days to prepare how you want to engage this year. Let's do an experiment real quick to see if you guys are truly open. What if you just sat here? Perfect. No, it's perfect. What if, because I did not pay her to do that. Let's do an experiment to see if we are open. What if you just sat here in silence and quiet? Let's say for 4 hours, starting now. Waiting. This was the entire service, just in quiet, for 4 hours. I just left. The canner leaves. And here you are, just in silence. What would happen? Really? What would you do? You all just told me that you were open and willing and excited for the new year. But what would you really do? What would you do? What's the internal dialogue right now for you? Is it getting a little uncomfortable? Would you take a nap? Close your eyes? I'll sleep for half of it, wake up to it. Would you just leave? Just take off? No one saw me? I'll sneak out of here. Maybe I'll grab a bite to eat because I'm getting hungry. Many of you will focus on just your needs, what you need. You'll just focus on what you need. When your needs are not met, they become the most important thing in your life. When you're hungry, all you think about is what? Food. When you're thirsty, all you can think about is what? Drink. When you have back pain, all you can think about is getting the relief from that pain. In other words, that need becomes the most important thing in your life. It becomes God. What is truly most important to you? Tell me honestly. Are you really open for a new experience? Or are you more open to what your needs are? What truly is important to you? The choice is yours. The choice is truly yours, how you will enter into this new, uncertain, blessed, and amazing year. You can take the direction of Moses, be open to a new experience, seeing our faculties as an opportunity for freedom, eyes wide open and focused, conscious. You can take the path of our ancestors at Sinai and look back, or be persuaded by fantasy, knowing that we could miss what is right in front of us, changing direction every few days. I'll do this, then I'll do that. When we are not committed and we are unfocused, it's like changing the destination in the GPS every few miles. You will never, ever get anywhere. The time is now, before the shofar is blown at Ne'ilah, for us to consider our spiritual nature. You have the next few days to consider and contemplate, reflect, and to develop a new response. It is 100% entirely up to you what experience you will have. Take these 2 days of Rosh Hashanah to figure out what you are going to plug into your GPS for this year, because that's going to determine what kind of year you're going to have. Shana Tova. We now rise on page 58 for Elena.
L'shabeach l'adon hakol, l'tet gedula le'otzer breshit, shelo asanu kegoyei haratzot, velo samanu kemishbechot ha'adama, shelo samchel kenu kahem, v'gor aleinu HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Shehu Notei Shamayim Be'oser Haaretz, Moshe V'Karo B'Shamayim Mima'al, U'Shchinatu Zo, Begav Meromim, Hu Eloheinu Malkeinu efesulato, Kagatu betorato, Ve'yanata hayom, V'hashevota elevavecha, Ki Adonai hu ha'Elohim, B'shamayim Mimhal, Ve'al ha'aretz, mitachat Einod.
So it is written in your Torah, the Lord shall reign forever and ever. The prophet too proclaimed this promise. The Lord shall be sovereign over all the earth. On that day the Lord shall be one, and God's name one.
ככתוב בתורתך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו echad.
We ask those who are mourning or observing your sight remain standing, and may the memories which we cherish and lovingly now recall inspire us so to live, that we too may bequeath a heritage of precious memories to those whom we shall leave behind. In tribute to our departed, may we enrich the lives we touch, and may we share and preserve the faith which our mourners will now affirm as they rise to sanctify God's name in the hollow words of the Kaddish. The mourner's Kaddish can be found on page 64. Together, Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei rabbah, ve'amad divrach chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon uvyomechon uvchaye dechol beit Yisrael, v'gala v'zman kariv v'imru.
Amen.
Yehei shmei rabbam v'rach le'olam u'le'olam. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shemei dekudsha b'richu. Le'ela mikol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran b'yama v'imru. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom ben romav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. May God, who makes harmony and peace in the heavens, grant harmony and peace to us, to all Israel, and all humankind. And let us all say, Amen. Amen. Please be seated. Shana Tova. Shana Tova. I'm very excited about what is to come over the course of the next couple of weeks. I hope you can feel the energy and the shift in which we are going to share together over the course of the next couple of days. Remember, Rosh Hashanah is 2 days long. It is considered to be one long day. One long day that has 2 days in it, a sunrise and a sunset, and a sunrise and or sunset and a sunrise. All for us to consider, really, how we want this year to be. What a beautiful tradition. It takes a moment for all of us to contemplate and to think about where we're going. What do we want to do? And how do we want to do it together as a community? I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow at 9:30, whether in person here or online. And we also have some treats outside, honey cake or honey cookies. Obviously, we wish you Shana Tova U'Metuka, a sweet, sweet new year. And remember that we offer that greeting, Shana Tova U'Metuka, a sweet new year. But also, let's offer each other a healthy new year, a year in which we all pray for health for each other and for those around us and for our community. We conclude with Oseh Shalom.
Just before we do that,
Please.
Rabbi.
Please.
Shana Tova, everybody. Shana Tova. Thank you. I'd like to welcome back for the 5th year, Kara, yeah, I think so. Kara Kowalczyk. Kara's been singing with me with choir, and for the last 2 years without a choir. I really enjoy doing this with Kara. We work hard at it. Some of you will notice that Dina Ormany, who has been my accompanist probably for the last 20-something years, is not with us today, or tomorrow or Wednesday. She will be back for for Yom Kippur, for Kol Nidrei and Yom Kippur. She's in Hawaii. But it's for a good cause. It's not a vacation. She said. But I'd like to welcome Sophia Pivac, who is going to be accompanying us for tonight, obviously, and tomorrow and Wednesday. So welcome, Sophia. Now we can conclude with Osei Shalom.
And we say Yasher Koach, may you find strength. So we wish you, Cantor and crew, for all of the work and preparation, and Yasher Koach to you, and thank you for being a shliach, a leader in our prayer at this time.
Osei Shalom b'Romav, Uyasei Shalom Aleinu. Osei Shalom b'Romav, Uyasei Shalom Aleinu. Osei Shalom b'Romav, Uyasei Shalom Aleinu. Yasei Shalom, Yasei Shalom, Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yasei Shalom, Yasei Shalom, Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Osei Shalom b'Romav, Uyasei Shalom Aleinu. Osei Shalom b'Romav, Uyasei Shalom Aleinu. Osei Shalom b'Romav, Uyasei Shalom Aleinu. Yasei Shalom, Yasei Shalom, Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yasei Shalom, Yasei Shalom, Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yasei Shalom, Yasei Shalom, Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yasei Shalom, Yasei Shalom, Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Shana Tova.
Shana Tova. Tomorrow, 9:30.